Executive order on blocking property with respect to specified harmful foreign activities of the government of the Russian Federation. Damn. Now that right there is a catchy title for a catchy executive order. The very good. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution, blah blah, I, Joseph R. Biden, find that specified harmful foreign activities from the government of Russia, the Russian Federation, in particular efforts to undermine the conduct of free and fair democratic elections and democratic institutions in the United States and its allies and partners, to engage in and facilitate malicious cyber-enabled activities against the United States and its allies and partners, to foster and use transnational corruption to influence foreign governments, to pursue extraterritorial activities targeting dissidents or journalists, to undermine security, so on and so forth. I declare a national emergency today to deal with that threat. I hereby order this. Guys, this is pretty important. You people sure are roughing around in chat. Section 1. All property and interests in property that are in the U.S., that herefore come within the U.S., or that herefore come within the possession or control of the U.S. person, are blocked and may not be transferred, paid, oh, wait. This is real. Are blocked and may not be transferred, paid, exported, withdrawn, or otherwise dealt in any person determined by the Secretary of the Treasury in consultation with the Secretary of State with respect to subsection A2 of this section in consultation with the Attorney General, or by the Secretary of State in consultation with the Secretary of the Treasury, and with respect to the subsection of A2 of this section in consultation with the Attorney General, okay, to operate or have operated in the technology sector or the defense or related material sector of the Russian Federation economy or any other sector of the Russian Federation economy as may be determined by the Secretary of the Treasury in consultation with the Secretary of State. To be responsible for or complicit in or to have directly or indirectly engaged in or attempted to engage in any of the following for or on behalf of or for the benefit of, directly or indirectly, the government of the Russian Federation. A. Malicious cyber-enabled activities, interference in a U.S. or other foreign government election, actions or policies that undermine democratic processes or institutions in the U.S. and abroad, transnational corruption, assassination, murder, or other... Well, wouldn't all assassinations be murders? Or other unlawful killing of or infliction of other bodily harm against a United States person or citizen or national of a United States ally or partner, activities that undermine the peace and security, political stability, or territorial integrity of the U.S., its allies, and its partners, deceptive or structured transactions or dealings to circumvent any U.S. sanctions, including through the use of digital currencies, there's Bitcoin, or assets or the use of physical assets, to be or have been a leader, official, senior executive official, or member of the board of directors of the government of the Russian Federation, an entity that has or whose members have engaged in any activity described in subsection A2 of this section, or an entity whose property and interests in property are blocked pursuant to this order. To be a political subdivision, agency, or okay, wait, there's a lot going on here. Boys, Russian sanctions are back in play. We're finally going back to it. It's happening. I didn't expect it to be happening quite so soon. Let's get 6 key takeaways here, because we could read that entire thing. Sanctions now align with the president's rhetoric. Sanctions are strongest U.S. response to date to massive hack. Flicking at collusion all these years later. That's not a very helpful title. Thank you. Cool. So here's the problem. Sanctions, are they based or are they cringe? 98% of the time, I'd say they're pretty cringe. Sanctions are the means by which a government hurts other governments and their people by denying economic activity to them. We have traditionally employed this to many countries. Cuba, for example, sanctions to Cuba. Now, mostly sanctions are bad because they hurt innocent people. Usually what a sanction does or means is that it leads to a deprivation of resources to a country that kind of needs them. I'll need to read up more in it. I think I might be okay with these. It's a form of economic warfare. So there was an excellent. Now, this isn't full research. This was just a blip that I read before, or that I watched before going into the research. But there was a little Vice YouTube video on Putin and the extent to which Putin engaged in the interference in foreign elections. So America isn't the only game in town when it comes to fucking up democracy. Putin is a am I mispronouncing his name? No, I'm not. You're just being children. Um, Putin is an autocrat. He is a dictator, and he is generally a not cool guy. He is also a very effective statesman. If you have at any point in your life read even a little bit about Vladimir Putin, then you would know that this guy is exceedingly competent at making the people who don't like him disappear and at maintaining power indefinitely and maintaining more or less positive public opinion while cracking down on people's human rights. Yeah. He is good at what he does. And the problem is, as I understand it, Vladimir has, for decades now, been invested in propping up far-right regimes all over the world. So you guys know about the whole Russiagate scandal? I'm sure you did. It was pretty much all people talked about for like a long, long time. People said that Russiagate was a hoax. People said that Russiagate was the idea that Vladimir Putin and Russia had used their government's resources to essentially disseminate far-right propaganda, thank you, and to influence the 2016 election. And a lot of people, including leftists, a lot of leftists, people like Kyle Kulinski, people like Jimmy Dore, said, oh, this is meaningless. Democrats are just salty that they lost. True. Hillary Clinton is mad, blah, blah, blah. Nope. Russiagate was 100% true. Senate committees continued to investigate the allegations behind Russiagate for years after the Mueller report, and they found that, yeah, it was completely correct. Basically, everything was completely correct. The Russian government invested a great deal of resources to ensure that, well, what they actually did was they exacerbated tensions. It wasn't just they would put money into, like, far-right causes here in America. There were actually instances where it was found that they would support left-leaning causes to exacerbate race conflict. There would be articles published, Twitter accounts that had no backing, fake names and profiles, dates and addresses that were pushing conflict. The ultimate goal of Vladimir Putin is to destabilize faith in democracy. That is the main thing that he cares about. Because democratic governments really don't want to work with him. They don't want to work with the Russian Federation. Why would they? But Trump got along with Putin just fine. Trump was incredibly unwilling to criticize Putin, up to and including him saying that he trusted Putin's word over the input of intelligence agencies. You have people, for example, like Caleb Maupin, who are agents of Russia Today, a state media, which propagates. Have you guys ever read Russia Today, by the way? Not just a single person from it, but Russia Today in its entirety. Have you noticed something interesting about the type of content they produce? See, it's not all right-wing. Some of it's left-wing. But pretty much all of it is anti-American. Not anti-American in the traditional sense, the kind of stuff that you would see from like North Korea, you know, where you'd like open up Russia Today and it's like the American pig dogs have blah, 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 blah. Not like that. But what it does is it subtly undermines the faith its readers are supposed to have in American democracy. Russia Today is supposed to make America look fragile. It's supposed to make America look conflicted, weak, like it's not being represented properly. It's ideologically idiosyncratic. It's not all far right, though a lot of it is. And a lot of it is far left. But all of it contributes to this general narrative. And the narrative is this, that America's time is coming. That soon it's gonna be over. You've noticed that, right? Do you think I'm off the mark on this one? There's just such a wide range of ideological positions that are levied there, you know? And Russia today, of course, does not levy these types of criticisms, this type of content at other countries. All around the world, we're seeing destabilization, but Russia today covers the destabilization that the Russian government funds in America, which is interesting. It's not just in America either. There are far-right groups all over Eastern and Central Europe that have ties in some way to the Russian government. This isn't exactly new, after all. I mean, communist parties all around the world had ties to the Bolsheviks, back in the day. You know, it's just old trends die hard. Putin was, of course, a KGB agent, you know, back when the Union was still around. So maybe it's a national pastime of theirs. Anyway, I don't necessarily have a problem with these sanctions. See, when I think of, do I want the world to fall to far-right populism? The answer is no. And when I think, how far would I go to stop that from happening? The answer is pretty fucking far, actually. I think that the world falling to the far right would actually, I think you could, in a utilitarian sense, you could justify quite a bit to prevent that from taking place, I think. You could justify almost anything. But we don't have to, because the American government actually found a solution. They sanctioned Russia. We had sanctions on the Russian Federation going on for years and years and years. You know who removed those sanctions? It was Trump. Putin's butt buddy. And for the years prior to Trump removing those sanctions, it seemed as though those sanctions were affecting Russia's ability to do its dirty work. See, when you sanction a country, you cut out a lot of economic activity, you hurt them. And while this does have an adverse effect on the population of Russia to an extent, it seems like the sanctions that we've had against Russia have largely been industrious. Does that make sense? Come on, dude, don't make lib-tier gay joke. Is that a gay joke? I just say butt buddy sometimes. Okay, not butt buddy. Sorry, you know I'm not homophobic, assholes. Anyway, we're not exactly denying, food aid to a country that's on the brink of starvation. We're talking about denying, direct economic relations that could otherwise enrich their country. And what Putin's been doing, this interference with the rest of the world, that costs a lot of money. It also costs public will. See, Putin can't get away with everything at all times forever. He needs to be popular. One of the ways that Putin has consolidated his popularity is through rampant homophobia. By targeting and attacking minority groups, he's able to consolidate national fear and, hold up that strongman image he cares about so much. It makes him look relatable, like he's just a good old Russian boy, except also an enormously wealthy oligarch who kills a lot of journalists. The sanctions do not make Putin look good, not even close. So maybe it helps deter what's happening. Bruh, Trump was like the absolute best thing for Putin. Let him invade Ukraine, even help him sabotage the defenders because of political expedience. Yeah. Trump was very, very, very... Vosh, could this lead to another Cold War? No. No, it will not. Okay? Absolutely not. All right? We're not talking boots on the ground. We're not talking nukes. We're not talking anything. What I'm saying is the economic deprivation and political humiliation of the Russian Federation and Vladimir Putin, respectively, is in the interests of anybody who likes democracy. This isn't just leftists, it's liberals too. In this respect, we all benefit. America, even war hawkish Americans, benefit because we're less subjected to foreign interference. Liberals benefit because it forestalls the collapse into anti-democratic far-right populism. And leftists benefit because it's quite a bit easier to do what we do when we're not living under a government which is similar to that of the Russian Federation. Does that make sense? But Vosh, don't we want American imperialism to fall? When I think of everything in a consequentialist sense. Some types of interference are positive, some types are negative. We invaded in World War II, great. Beaches of Normandy, we did good. Great job. Okay, phenomenal. Um, most of the time when we do it, it's bad. Russia is one of the few instances where I am okay with our government being openly hostile to them, as long as it does not escalate to any kind of military conflict, which I have no reason to believe it will. None whatsoever. Russiagate may have been overblown by some groups, but it was a problem. And guys, I'm sorry, America's cringe, that's true, but I live here. And when I'm engaging in the political landscape, I do not want the driving dialogue to be controlled and orchestrated by bad faith actors on the other side of the planet. Bosch, do you hold the same position on China? To sanction China? China doesn't have anywhere near the long-term international. China doesn't engage in the same types of international spread and influence that Russia does. Russia doesn't have very much money. Russia's not like booming right now. Russia's kind of been faltering for a while. So their influence is political, it's nefarious. China can just invest all around the world. They can form massive trading blocks that Russia can't. Russia's broke, and the sanctions won't help with that. Look, I'm not saying any of this is clean cut. These sanctions could end up being done really, really poorly. They could end up hurting innocent people more than the extent to which it would be justified. It could be they don't really even hurt Putin's ability to influence foreign elections and spread far right ideology. And if that's the case, I would disagree with all of these things. But generally speaking, this is one of the few instances where I think sanctions are somewhat justified. I want to see if I can find that Vice video. It's a shame that I can't watch it because, of course, I'm on YouTube, but Vice, Russia, sanctions. So I saw this, oh wait, not Vice, Vox. Vox does the videos, not Vice, Vox. It was one of these. Damn it, Vox does so many videos. It couldn't have been a month ago. Well, it's not about Alexei Navalny. It wasn't about Ukraine. Was it about the rise of Vladimir Putin, perhaps? Here, wait, maybe if I can check the captions. Just a moment. I'm really, really curious because I'd like other people's opinions on it if possible. KGB ally. What? His goal to expand Russian influence, liberated countries, post-Soviet chaos, Chechenian conflict, separatists, bomb journalists, many people die in Chechnya. Very cringe. Dude, Vladimir Putin is like the... Vladimir Putin is unironically like the real world equivalent of Littlefinger. Chaos is a ladder. Holy shit. Okay. The Putin's regime has also developed and fostered the most effective cyber army in the world, and maybe people will call this lib shit. I don't know. There was actual... Was it? Oh, here we go. Was this the nugget? I think this might have been the nugget that got me to do more research afterwards. This isn't all the research I've done, but I saw this and I was curious. Hold on. Russian hackers have also launched propaganda campaigns in support of right-wing candidates in Europe. With this, Putin hopes to exploit and deepen the political divide in Western democracies. In 2014, the Putin vision culminated in the targeting of Ukraine, another former Soviet country. Ukraine's president was opening up to the West, and Putin feared he would join NATO. So Russian hackers launched a propaganda campaign against him, stoking protests in the pro-Russia eastern part of the country. He then sent in disguised Russian troops, and before long, violence erupted. This is an extremely effective way of capitalizing on conflict in other countries. Then in goes the Russian military, and he annexed Crimea. Supports the fighting in Ukraine. Thousands of people are dead. Yeah. Click the 3 dots and open transcript. No. Crimea, sorry. As in Crimea River. I mispronounce everything. You're thinking too much in the short term. Russia is a valuable potential ally in forming a balanced coalition against China in Asia. Russia is a declining power. I do not think there's any world where Putin is alive and in power and Russia's has America's interests at heart. For the record, that's completely true. Russia's cybersecurity teams make the NSA look like babies poking at plugs with kitchen utensils. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Vosh, not to use tanky takes, but wouldn't the U.S. growing too powerful make it possible for them to do even more damage if Russia is weakened? Russia's military power isn't a check on America, but your cogs are mismatched, my friend. America falling to far-right populism would make it more powerful, not less. Democracy lessens the extent to which America can hurt the world. As long as there's some veneer of accountability in the way our American political system works, we have the ability to check it. If we fell to far-right populism the way Putin seems to want us to, that would not make us any less of a threat to the marginalized people around the world. We would be far more of a threat. We would be a threat to them along with Russia, who also hates minorities, you know? It's just something. So only America can be a check on America? That's a bit bullshit. No, I'm not saying only America can be a check on America. I'm saying the way to check America isn't to make it fall to a far-right regime. That's it. You can check, form other trade blocs, the developing world, rise up, do something, trade, coalition, sanctions, whatever. Don't make us fall to a far-right regime. That's not a good way of checking our power, you know what I mean? That's like hitting the enrage timer on a fucking boss, you know what I mean? Like, you're playing World of Warcraft or some shit, you're like, ha! All right, this I can deal 2 damage to this opponent and also inflict enrage on them. Get them to do fucking double damage. Like, no, chill, okay? You save that for the finisher, all right? Not for the... Wow, it's a bad example. Just end the segment.